Okay, we're going to call to order our Holiday Park and Recreation District Board of Trustees regular meeting for Thursday, April 9th, 2026, 6 p.m. First item is our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. God our Father, we praise you and thank you for our blessings. We thank you for this day and that we are able to come together in the hope of working together to enhance our park. We ask for the Holy Spirit to guide us this day in all of our discussions and interactions so that we do what is best for all of our residents. We thank you, God, for all those present at our meeting and for all those who are streaming. We thank you for our trustees, our district manager, the park staff, and all those who volunteer their time and efforts to make our park a better place to live. We ask for your help and guidance so that those present are patient, understanding, and respectful to one another as we remember that we are a community of family, friends, and neighbors. We ask all this to you, our Father in heaven, in the name of your Son, Jesus, and our Lord and Savior. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we have our roll call now.
Chairperson Sean Slattery.
Present.
First Vice Chair Bob Bachman.
Present.
Second Vice Chair Rick Haggard.
Present.
Treasurer Don Lemaster.
Present.
Secretary Deb Burns, here. Assistant Secretary Jackie Mitchell.
Here.
Trustee Joni Anderson.
Here.
Trustee George Clinch.
Present.
Trustee Tim Celo.
Here.
Sergeant at Arms Rick Weber. District Manager Vicki Lawrence.
Here.
Thank you, Deb. Next, we have our approval of our previous meeting minutes. First up is our oath of office meeting on 3/12/2026. You have the minutes in front of you. The only change that I see is that I'm missing my last name on the on the bottom. I was trying to be incognito, but we probably should put my name in the minutes there. And I have these minutes were done by done by Jackie, and there's a few changes here, but don't worry about writing all this down. Jackie, I'll give you a copy at the end, and anyone else that has a change can give you their copy. Anything else? Does anyone else have? Well, I need a motion to accept the minutes, I guess. We have a motion by Rick and supported by Bob for our oath of office. Yep. I mentioned the change I saw. Any other changes? Being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion carries. Those are approved. Next is our organizational meeting from 3/12. I need a motion to accept the minutes. We have a motion and a second. Open for discussion. In the second, the third paragraph where it starts with Rick Haggard, we have that I was nominated as the chairperson, and I accepted that, and Bob made a motion to close the nominations, and that motion carried. We don't have listed here that we actually had a motion to appoint Sean Slattery as the board chairperson, and I think we had a unanimous vote, and the motion carried, so that should be added there. On the fifth paragraph where it starts with First Vice Chair Bob Bachman, at the end of that, we should just state that the motion carried. And that's all I had for those. Anyone else have any changes?
Just a slight one on trustee comments under Joni Anderson. That should be for the committee, not committees.
Which paragraph is that in?
That's the second page, top.
You're right.
Oh, you're talking about regular. We're still on the
Oh,
organizational meeting. It's
sorry.
just a one-pager.
Sorry.
Okay. Any other changes to the organizational meeting minutes? Being none, All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll open it up for the regular board meeting. I need a motion to accept the minutes. You have that first. All right, open for discussion. Okay, now Joni.
Sorry. All right. Under trustee comments, just it should be committee instead of committees on page 2 at the top.
I had a couple items on there. Number one, on the first page, approval of previous meeting minutes, number 1 there. Just motion carried after that sentence on number 1, and same with number 2. Also, discussion has a typo. There's an extra I at the end there. So fix that, and the motion carried. And then on page 2, we have Joni's, and then the next sentence there, it says need to have a contact system in place in case the gate gets hit. Vicky will work on it. Oh, sorry, the next line. Sean Slattery made note of the 3/31/2026. Should say workshop date change in there. And then we only have 2 workshops remaining. And then at the end of that page, we have an extra line that says call to order. That could be removed. And that's all the changes I saw on that in those minutes. Anyone else? So if we accept the minutes with the changes, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And finally, we have our workshop board meeting. We need a motion and support.
Second.
We have a motion and support. Any changes?
Excuse me, on the second page, down, let me see, down, on number 15 and down at the last paragraph, this is brought and should be back at the next meeting to make change in the vote.
It's BA instead of BACK.
Yes.
All right.
Get it?
Yep. Now I do. Yeah, on the first page, I had a couple items there. I believe that George, where we talk about number 4, talk about it says George will be gone on 5/7. It should be, I believe it's 5/14. Is that correct, George? Because that's our meeting. Our actual meeting is on 5/14/2026.
That's correct. If you have it on 5/7, I will be here, but other than that,
Yeah.
I won't.
Yeah. And that was I'm going to mention that in my notes, but that was our regularly scheduled meeting, was the 14th. So, and then number 7, it says the AC unit replacement has been moved over to it should say short-term list instead of medium. And then the next line, Sean added the pool furniture instead of to, and the Archer quote to the short-term list. And then finally on page 3, there's just a typo down by 10. It says Sean thanked Lois and thanked the Pavilion Committee for all their hard work. It's just a typo with the word there. Any other changes?
On the third page, if you're going to change the meeting, you should change it where it says budget and an assessment meeting will be on May 7th. I don't think that's right either.
Oh, yes. Yes, under supplemental items. Yes, that is correct. It's May 14th. Thank you. Good catch there. I missed that one. Okay. Any other changes? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. We're approved. We have our report from our district manager, Vicky.
Good evening, Holiday Park trustees and residents. I would like to welcome our new office staff member, Jacqueline Brown. Please stop by the office to meet and welcome her to Holiday Park. Thanks to our generous donor for the construction of the new pavilion, every donation for the pavilion fund will be matched up to $50,000. Thank you to all of the residents who have donated to the Pavilion Fund. Together, we will turn this vision into a reality for our community, and we thank you. Our annual Sunshine Law, Ethics, and Public Records training is scheduled for April the 30th in the main hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and we will be providing lunch. It is required training for our trustees, but residents are welcome to attend. We just ask that you sign up at the office. We do need a head count to make sure that we have all of the training materials available, as well as that you get lunch also. The City of Northport is hosting a Hurricane Expo. I hate to say the word hurricane, but they are hosting a Hurricane Expo 2026 at the George Mullen Activity Center on April the 28th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I just encourage you to go to our website or their website for more information. They have a lot of valuable information and vendors available at that expo. Just want to note that if the lift arms at the gate are damaged or they're not functioning, you should call the office during business hours or contact one of the trained trustees, which is Tim, George, Rick, Bob, Sean, or Deb. Do not attempt to reposition or repair the lift arms yourself. Our maintenance staff has completed painting the new lines, repositioning stop signs, and adding or replacing the delineators to help better guide vehicles on where to stop before the lift arms and at the call box. Please remember that the entry and exit gates are designated for vehicles only. A separate gate is located at the front entrance for bicycles and pedestrians to ensure safe access. And we're looking at another solution that's been brought to the board for tonight's regular meeting. As many of you prepare to leave for the season, please ensure that you have a designated property caretaker and notify the office with their information. Also, be sure to secure or store any outdoor items that could become hazardous during storms. A leaving for the season checklist, if you're not sure exactly what to do, is available and can be very helpful to you, but it's available in the lobby on the wall near the office. And I just want to say, for those of you that are leaving, safe travels to those of you heading back to your northern homes. For our full-time residents, I do look forward to working together this summer to continue making Holiday Park a wonderful place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Next up is our treasurer's report from Don.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. This is a treasury report for March 31st, 2026. Assessments received in the month of March, $75,729.66. Our pavilion fund balance as of March 31st, $115,605. Trees for Tuscola Fund, $5,248. We now have enough trees money in the fund to complete the trees for Tuscola.
Yay.
February income, $80,088.76. February expenses, $217,642.32. Our restricted reserve account, $300,481.13. Our project account has $261,524.92. Our our first CD now has $378,700.11. Since we took this CD out a year and a half ago, we have earned $28,800 in a year and a half on this one CD. We have two other CDs now going. They're each $200,000. Prime State Fund, $23,017.60. The operating account, $895,332.21. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. And for the board, Don also passed out a projects account update as far as the monies left in that,
Right.
which is also part of the projects
Right.
list that we'll go over later.
Yes.
Okay. I guess it's my turn. for chairperson's report. The board welcomes all attending and all those who are streaming this evening. Please keep all resident comments to 3 minutes or less, and please refrain from any side comments or discussions as they are distracting to others. I just have a couple items. We have another long agenda. However, most of the items have been fully discussed within the last workshop and are ready for approval. We do have a couple items that require changes, and so we may need some further discussion before voting on those items. And we have one item under new business that came up in a recent ACC meeting, which requires immediate attention, and that is why we'll be reviewing and possibly voting on this item today. So if this meeting carries over our 60 minutes, I'm going to ask our Sergeant at Arms, Rick, to get my attention so that we can have a short break. So at that time, 60 minutes. All right. We only have one more workshop and one more regular meeting to close out this winter-spring season. I want to reiterate that our final meeting before the trustees' summer break starts will be held on May 14th, starting at 6 p.m. The board had voted last spring when we set this season's meeting dates to move our last meeting back to the normal second Thursday of the month. In previous years, the board had moved up the May regular meeting date to the first Thursday in May in order to accommodate those trustees who needed to move back up north. However, we have found in the past couple years that doing so puts a lot of extra pressure on our office and the finance committee to get all the necessary work done for the May meeting because we have to go through our annual budget at that time. Therefore, last spring, the board decided to keep the May regular meeting on the scheduled second Thursday of May. And that's all I have. Thank you. Next item is our trustee reports. I'm going to just start. Bob, anything down there?
Nothing at this
Okay,
time.
Jackie? Tim? Okay, George? Anything?
Nothing at this time.
Joni?
We had our second deed restriction review committee on Monday at 2. I just want to thank everybody for their participation. We have an excellent committee, and we had great feedback from residents, and there was a lot of good information. So again, thank you for all that participate.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Thanks. And Rick, anything?
Nothing at this time.
Deb?
I'm good.
Okay, we're going to move on to resident comments. Do we have any resident comments this evening for our agenda items that we're going to be talking about? Being none, we're going to move forward to our old business. Old business, we have our fine committee application. It's before you. It's the same one we reviewed in our workshop. I need a motion to accept.
So moved.
And we have support. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the application is accepted. Now, we don't mention names in our meeting here, and so we're not going to do that, but thank you to the individual who is now on our fine committee. Next item we have is our ACC committee application. So we have a person that's also want to join the ACC. It's been reviewed already. I need a motion and support.
So moved.
We have we have a motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye on acceptance.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion carries. Thank you again for the person who is joining our ACC committee. Next item we have is our trustee workshop and regular meeting dates. These are the same dates that we reviewed. The only thing that changed on this sheet was that I added Christmas week on the first column there for the 12/22/2026 workshop meeting. I need a motion and support to accept the dates. We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Any changes to this? Being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any opposed? Okay. And the next item is the same schedule and what we send to our local newspaper every year, which is part of the law that we must do this. So I need a motion for this. We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any
Right.
discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye on the approval. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving right along here. Next, we have our project list. If you look at this, it's pretty much the same. I just want to explain a couple things real quick on this. On the first page is our short term. That shows all the projects. It's a little bit different than what Don gave us tonight because I added the last two items, which is the AC, the phase 2 hall AC replacement and the phase 1 pool furniture. Those are possible things that we want to complete this year, only we have some work coming back to us from the office, which we'll be talking about in our workshop for those items. And if you look at above it, if the budget number is green, that means it's been approved and it's being worked on. If the budget number is dark, it's bolded black, that means we're voting on it today. So we have two items that we are talking about today, voting on. And then the items at the bottom there, the 16K and the 21K, those are, again, coming to our next workshop. All right. So I guess this is just for your information. I don't believe we need to vote on that. Unless anyone has changes, let me know. Nothing changed on the rest of the sheet from what we talked about in our workshop. Okay. Next item is our kitchen, our new refrigerator. We have, I can speak to this just because we talked about it in the workshop, and so I'll just walk through this, and if Vicki has anything she wants to add, she can add that. The first page shows the refrigerators. You see two of them crossed off because we had talked about accepting the Katam restaurant supply bid, and that is what shows on the next two pages, that amount. And then we also had, we also received, and we didn't have this at the workshop, but we have the amount it's going to take from our Sarasota Electrical to install the second refrigerator that's being moved at a cost of $360. So again, this is all being paid for by funds donated or by the Men's Club and the ARC, our Holiday Park ARC. So we need a motion and support.
Second?
We have a motion support. Any discussion or any on this?
Yeah. I saw earlier estimate that included the two outlets in the kitchen. This one does not.
We had the Sarasota Electrical remove those two from the estimate because it wasn't part of the refrigerator. But we still want to install those two outlets, and we can do that under our operational budget.
All right. Any other questions? We have a motion to support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. So we're getting a new refrigerator in the kitchen.
Thanks,
Yay.
Mike, for all your work.
Now we're moving on to our landscaping project. Again, I need a motion support to accept this. We have a motion to support this. Again, is something that we reviewed already in our workshop, and we had picked Fine Design as the vendor we wanted to work with. However, the cost was adjusted because of I'm not sure, was that because of the salt and pepper granite rock?
That is correct.
Okay.
We initially had it quoted for the black rubber mulch, and so we were within $50 of what we originally proposed. And then because they have to deliver that separately, they can't mix the rocks, there was an additional $80 for delivery. So it was an additional $130 total from the original proposal.
Okay, and that's how we got to the $12,090, which is still the lowest bid on all three that we received. So I need we have a motion support already. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we have our landscaping that everyone will see when you come back. All those who are here in the summer will see it soon, but All those who come back in the fall will see it over in the Phase 2 area. Next, we have our pool furniture estimates. Again, just need a motion and support to accept this quote.
So moved.
We have a motion and support. Again, we reviewed this in our workshop. Almutech, Alumatech was the vendor that we had selected. They had the lowest quote. The quote is on the second page. And if you look on the third page, you see the colors that were selected. And I'll let Vicki explain how she selected these, or how these colors were selected.
Sure. So when we originally presented this to the board at the workshop, it was with a couple of different color selections. One was more to the neutral, the creams and whites, and then one with this color that you're seeing in front of you and hopefully on the screen. And so I went out and began to survey anyone that was at the pool for Phase 1 and Phase 2 and showed them the different color options just to get some feedback from the residents and, you know, anyone that was at the pool, but to get their feedback. And overwhelmingly, there wasn't anyone. Well, the men were kind of like, but the women were like, yes, we want color, we want color, we want to see something different. And so given all of the options, this color combination was the one that everyone, I don't think there was one person that I had that didn't want something different that I asked. So this is where we are. We're doing the patio chairs. We're bringing before you tonight is going to be the teal color that you see. And then the chase loungers will be in the design pattern, and then with the frames and the tables being in the silver. I don't know what else color to call it, but it's a silver color. And I did contact there was a couple questions that were valid questions from residents that asked, is having a color instead of white on the frames going to induce heat more? You know, so when you touch it, is it going to be hotter than if you touch it and it's white, you know, and like if they're sitting out? Very valid question. So I did contact the manufacturer that we're purchasing, Alumatech, and they said that there are colors that could be a concern, which would be your dark colors, your bronze, your browns, but that silver and white are very reflective. Doesn't mean you're not going to feel any heat, but it's not going to burn you. It's not going to hold the heat the way that the darker colors would. So I was convinced that after that conversation that silver would be what we had support for and what the residents wanted. So that's the direction we're proposing.
I'm just a guy, but it looks green on the screen up here behind us.
It is not green. I have the original color with me. If anyone wants to see the sample. What the trustees have before them is more the color.
All right. Any other questions for Vicki? Being none, all
That's
those in
the color.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our general rules and regulations for our gate fines fees. I want to start by saying, well, let's I guess let's have a motion and support for acceptance of this.
Second.
A motion support. We'll open it up for discussion now. This is not, Vicki and I both worked with some of the questions that came out of our workshop, and we sent them on to our attorney team, and they gave back the answers that they gave back. We went back and forth a little bit. A copy of this was sent to all of our trustees so that they're all in the loop on what came out of that. And I'm just going to touch on a couple points through it since it's not on the screen for everyone to read. We sent our general rules and regulations for them to review, and they said everything looked good in that. We also and what they said back to us was HP's enabling legislation allows the district to adopt and enforce reasonable rules and regulations governing the use of facilities of the district and to prescribe penalties for violations of such rules and regulations. The rate has to be fixed by a resolution and cannot exceed $100 per violation, which is exactly what we have in our fine process. I think the language you provide in both documents is fine. I assume the fine, well, that was a separate thing that I answered. She was referring to an old fine chart, which has been replaced by actually what we're talking about tonight, the table that we have. So that was the first thing. Another question that came out is, the question came up at the meeting that, sometimes it's hard to find the people that damage the gate, and it might take several days, and we were wondering if we could find them the $100 a day for the number of days it takes to actually contact them as a punitive damage, or if we can't, well, I guess that was the biggest thing. If they don't come forward and say that they did the damage. And what we found out is we don't have the authority to do that. It says the district does not have the authority to apply punitive damages. The language is in enabling legislation, and Florida law goes to enforcing rules and regulations and deed restrictions and applying appropriate fines. While I certainly understand the frustration, without explicit authority, punitive damage remains in the courts. However, they did go on to say that if damage is severe, then we can fine. It's not through the fining process. We can just go to the person who did the damage and either go to them directly or work with their car insurance, but get the full cost of that damage and repair. So we still have an option of going after the people who especially make major damage to our gates and or our gate arms. So I just want everyone to know that as we're moving forward with this change to our general rules and regulations. With that being said, the only change that was made on this since you saw it in our workshop is that the revision date on the first page shows of today's date. Other than that, we have Resolution 2026-1, which has replaced the previous Resolution 2025-5, and we have Section Z added, which I will read again just for the public. Well, it's actually on the screen. I don't need to read it. You can read it. So any other discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye to this change.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next item is the actual resolution itself. This again replaces 2025-5 as stated at the first page. And the change, we actually have two changes. One has nothing to do with the gate arms. It's under number 8. It was a change because of our assumption of risk waiver and release liability change that we made earlier this season, where we said owners would not have to sign that. But non-owner occupants, renters, and guests still need to sign the assumption of risk waiver and release of liability through the park office. And then we added for the gate arms, number 19, which is similar to what we have, the language we have in our general rules and regulations. So I need a motion and support.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and
Got it
support.
covered, Tim.
Any questions about this from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Okay, we are on to number 10, I believe. And this is the upgrade the front pedestrian bike for easier access. I'm asking for a motion and support for this. We have a motion and support. Okay, you'll notice that on this quote, we did remove the back gate. As our discussion went, we decided that would not make sense to put in a back gate because there's nowhere to go when you go out the back except on the street. There's no sidewalks, and because of that, we don't want to put anyone in harm's way going out the back, either walking or riding a bike when it's easy to go out the front and use the sidewalks to wherever you want to go. So that's was taken off. I personally received an email from a resident stating the same, that they were against having a gate in the back, and I thanked them. And so again, we have this in front of us. Okay. Any questions about this? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Okay. Number 11 is our ACC rule changes to number 12 and number 33. Again, at the top, oh, it says review still. We need to change that to revised. So we'll change that to revised once we vote on it. But the changes before you, this one we had asked number 12, I believe everyone was okay with at the workshop, but on under 33, number 33, number 3, we wanted to keep the maximum size at 192 square feet, so that's kept, as you can see it there. And we also add that a detached shed would not exceed the height of the existing home, will be permitted outside the foot of the home. That should actually have been highlighted, but it's on number 2. So under number 2 changed, and then number 3 changed, and that remained the same from the workshop. Any questions about these changes? Did I ask a motion yet? Oh, we need a motion? Yeah, I thought I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, you. No? No, I didn't. Okay. Okay, Tim. Good job, Tim. Okay, I need a motion and support. Anyone we need a motion and
I'll
support?
make a motion. Move this on. Tim, you're up.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Now, any discussion about this? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Finally, we're on to our new pavilion construction. RFH contract, construction phases, payment terms, and timeline. If you look, I need a motion to support, for acceptance and support.
Second.
You have a second. Okay, open for discussion now. So the first page shows all the contractors that that gave us bids, and we had selected at our workshop. RFH is the one we want to go forward with, and you see that there. The next page was I don't know how you want to take this. We had a change, an addendum added to our packets that we just picked up today. So I'll actually, we'll go over that last. But the contract itself, I don't think, was there any changes? There was no changes from the contract from our,
Correct.
especially the pavilion proposal itself and the concrete. I think the second page there, the actual cash sales contract itself is added. Wasn't it? No? Okay.
That was in the workshop as
Okay,
well.
so everything
So we had the proposal and then the contracts for each, the pavilion and the concrete.
Okay. There was some more pictures though, right? We had some more pictures added of renderings of what it can look like, which I would say we need to get these after tonight, get these out on our board so everyone can see these because they're great. The only thing that we need to discuss tonight, I think, still we have to identify the colors.
That's what I just.
That has not been done.
Okay.
So as part of this discussion, let's open it up for figuring out what kind of colors we're using on this.
Right here.
I think options are wide, but I would say that the one thing to remember on colors here in Florida, with the darker colors, are going to retain heat. We don't want it to be hot out there under the pavilion. So with that said, go ahead and what are your discussion?
Sean, the rest of the canopies are all, like out here, all white. So I think I would prefer white to match.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so we have white as the roof should be white.
Yes.
How about the the poles. Going to make them all white too.
Yeah, I would say yes, because everything else is white, so it all. Can we ask Bob about that? He's got a puzzled look on his face. Robert?
Yeah, it's in the quote. It's in the
Okay.
quote, but it's not in the pictures, and we're looking at the pictures. So
Oh, okay, all righty. Thank you.
I do have one recommendation is where your gables are, if you wanted some type of offsetting color that you could go with a cream against the white or something that's still light, but that just gives,
Something that'll blend in with the building behind.
yes.
okay, I'm hearing.
And we do need to,
Yeah, I figured that. Okay, so if we could have like a cream color that helps bring it match
On
the
the
building,
gable,
yeah, on the gable itself.
Okay.
Okay, so that will be part of the minutes, and Vicky, you'll have that noted for the contract. Again, so the contract is before you, it hasn't changed. What I do want to go over is the addendum to the cash sales contract and pavilion agreement that we don't have on the screen because we just received it. This was put together by RFH Construction by Robert. It's a great addendum. It says this addendum is made part of and incorporated into the cash sales contract and pavilion proposal, scope of work and payment schedule between RFH Construction Consultants, which is our contractor, and Holiday Park Park and Recreation District, which is the owner, for the project located at our address. Funding contingency and payment terms. It is understood that the Holiday Park Pavilion fundraiser has not yet been fully funded. Contractor agrees that a portion of the labor costs to construct the pavilion, estimated at approximately $30,000, will be paid as additional donations are received. If donations have not been received prior to final payment, contractor agrees to allow a 90-day period from completion for final payment. If after 90 days sufficient donations have not been received, the Holiday Park Pavilion Trust agrees to pay $1,000 per month until the outstanding balance is paid in full. All of the terms of the original agreement remain in full force and effect. And I will state also that the terms are on the contracts of the payment terms. They're very clear. And with that, Vicki, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I do. So I want to give some really exciting and great news this evening. So as Don, our treasurer, reported on our pavilion fund balance as of March the 31st, was $115,605. Beginning April the 1st until today, at the end of our window office closing, we have residents that have contributed $19,000. We now have $134,605 in the pavilion fund, and that is without our generous donors' matching donation. Thank you. Thank you to all who have donated. That would bring, with the matching fund at this point, that would bring us to $153,605.
So we're getting very close, everyone. We're getting, and it was brought up in the men's club meeting today that there are some things that even once the pavilion is done, there are some things that we'll have to spend money on. So any donations that come in that are above and beyond the actual building costs, we still have the electrical to do, as well as some things like chairs and well, not chairs so much, but tables, probably tables. So,
Yeah.
And some other miscellaneous things. We have fans that we want to put in there eventually and things like that. So thank you for all the donations that have come in. If you still want to donate, there's still time. We're still accepting donations. This is wonderful news because it means that this pavilion is going to happen, folks. This pavilion will happen. Okay, we have a motion and support to accept this proposal, the contract. Any other discussion? And if anyone has any questions for Robert, he's here this evening.
I really do thank him for taking the time to, out of his schedule, to be here tonight and be available to the residents and to the trustees this evening. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Yeah. Any-
an owner.
Yes. Any other questions? Any discussion points? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Here we go. It's been it's been over a year that we've been working at this, and not the whole park, but especially our pavilion committee. And I just want to give them a big thanks again for all the work that they did. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to new business. We have a new item that we're going to discuss, which is our ACC Rule Edition number 44. And I'm going to let either Vicki or Tim walk us through this. They have the information.
Yeah, this came out of an application for a on-demand propane system, generator, propane tanks. And they were requesting 2 large 250-gallon propane tanks, which kind of caught us off guard a little bit. So we ended up tabling that. And what you have in front of you is the response from the city. And talking with the ACC committee, we felt we needed to come up with this rule to help the park protect itself and our residents, to make sure that anyone applying for these type of jobs in here, as far as the homeowners or contractors, they have to come forward with all permits in place with their application to the committee. That's what this is about.
Okay, we need a motion and support to accept this. We have a motion. We have support. We have a second. Okay. So any questions from the board on the wording of this?
I looked over our deed restrictions for propane and that, and it appears though in our deed restrictions, it mentions for appliances in the home. Other than that, it doesn't. So is there a possibility we may have to add that to our deed restriction?
It was discussed in our last deed restriction meeting, and there's a few proposal languages that are going to go to the April 17th meeting.
All right. Thank you. Karen? Oh, gotta turn it on.
There we go. Thanks. Karen Anderson. Whoa, it does work now. 5072 Polina. I wanted to add support to Ms. Anderson over there because it came up in our meeting and we discussed it, and it does discuss it in the deed restrictions, not in total. And I agree that we probably should add it in there and let the residents vote. I think a lot of residents would be very uncomfortable with 250 pound, or what do they call them, pounds? Pounds? Well, anyway, I would. I'd be afraid that goodbye house, goodbye neighborhood. I'm uncomfortable that we ended up with the 125 pound items to begin with when the gas had to be turned off. And we have 125 pound, and we're always looking at it and making sure that it's secure and not leaking, et cetera, but to go to 250, it just makes me uncomfortable, and I think it would make other residents uncomfortable as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Regardless of how we put it in the deed restrictions, which will go back to the community to vote on, we can still add this as of tonight into our ACC rules because it doesn't restrict or change anything that is in the currently in the deed restrictions. So, any other discussion?
Yes, I have a question here on tank placement and location. 10 feet must maintain from the main house and other buildings and the property line?
That is correct for the 250. If it's 125, it has I think it's a 5 foot.
Well,
Right.
oh, it says 125 to 500 gallons.
Right.
Yep.
So there may be some properties that are not able to meet because it's,
Right.
because it's restricted for a reason, and it's not just from the structure, it's also from any windows, any source of ignition that could ignite. So there's very strict permitting rules to these larger propane tanks.
Okay.
So
The big thing here that this states in this is that it says that the permits have to be, the city required permits must be completed and be turned in with the ACC application, which is a big step because that means that our ACC committee doesn't have to worry about whether or not the person is going to get the correct permits after this is
Yes.
approved.
Okay.
So that's great that that's in there in the
Yes.
wording. Any other discussion areas on this? Okay, being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And this carries forward. I do want to bring up one point that this raises for me as a owner within the park and being on the board here also. I think that a follow-up, we need some follow-up language in our ACC rules and regulations about permitting in general. Right now, we don't have much that says that. I mean, for instance, something like, I'm going to state something that I wrote down here. For instance, adding something into the ACC that says, for all work requiring permitting through the city of Northport, all permits must be present and approved with the application, ACC application. I think that should be added too, and that I want to get Tim's comments on that, but to me it means that it takes the onus off the ACC to have to make sure or I mean, it puts the onus of getting the permits on the owner. That's pretty much what it does. And they have to have it. If the ACC is gonna approve it, they have to have the city permits
Permit, yes.
with it.
This should include approved permits. This should. Not just permit, but approved permit from the city.
Oh yes, the wording here should have it say that too. It just says required city permits. It doesn't say approved. I mean, it's assumed, I think, that it's approved, but maybe we should make that clear. Yeah. So we'll amend the motion support for that change. That if you'll add that. And again, I'm opening it up for the board discussion real quick because it piggybacks off of number 44.
Well, we've actually discussed that in our ACC meetings, and a new home application is actually required by the city prior to the city issuing a build permit on a new home.
I think we're covered then for new homes, and that could be in the wording itself. But I'm talking about anything that's not a new home. Anything when someone wants to put in a new shed or anything that is going to require the city to give a permit to allow that to happen. That should be part of that application.
Oh, I don't disagree, and the committee wouldn't disagree with you, but maybe a lot of residents might.
I'm just saying that for my air conditioner that went out, everything was ordered and approved, and then the contractor went and got an approved permit after the whole you know what I mean? So I didn't, when I filled out my application here, I did not have an approved permit for my air conditioner because I had to wait for the contractor to give the specs and stuff to the city.
And that is a good point too, but we could add that. That's an emergency. So if it's an emergency, those rules should be different.
Well, we actually have a list that we work off in the office that we can approve permits without going through the committee, and maybe we'll have to readjust that to reflect on, like an AC type of situation where we don't have to wait on the city permitting, because we all know how the city works on their permitting.
Right. So emergency situations should be completely different.
Yes.
So I'm talking about the things that are not emergency, and that, again, because it's too easy in our current setup. I'm just going to say this. It's too easy right now for a permit. I mean, for an application to come through the ACC, the permit itself, I mean, the application looks good. It's approved, and they say they say that the owner says, I'm going to go get all the permitting before I'm done, and then they don't do that. Okay, it's too easy for it to happen that way, and this would help us as a park protect ourselves against those types of things. We have a comment here.
Yvonne Warner, 5413 Holiday Park Boulevard. I agree with what you're saying, Sean. 5-6 years ago, when we put the addition on our shed, and I don't know if this is because it was attached to the house or not, the city required we had to have the ACC approval before they would even consider looking at our application. Plus, the application cost money. And I think people might have an issue there from the standpoint, hey, if the ACC doesn't approve me, and in our situation, we were over our 10 feet limit by 6 inches. We did not ask for an exception. Instead, we moved the back a foot. We stepped our shed so we could meet that requirement. That's just something else I'm throwing out at you, is that the city required we had to have the ACC paper in hand before we could apply for it.
Okay, so there's some things to think about, Tim. Maybe between Tim, you and Vicky, we can follow up on that and find out that's still the case.
I'd also like to bring to attention ACC rule number 36, which is the utility screening for propane tanks, air conditioners, and garbage cans. So with this, we may need to look at the size if we're wanting to provide some residents and some don't want to look at those propane tanks. So we provide a rule in which they must or where they have these panels, fencing type panels, utility screening for the propane tanks. And this size propane tank, I'm not sure that our 60 by 60 is going to meet that need. So just proposing that we may want to look at that rule number as well.
Thank you. We have another comment here.
Nancy Selo, 6893 Amoco Court. It's actually right on the permit application itself, the language. Says, by signing, I agree to abide by the Architectural Control Committee rules and regulations and the deed restrictions, and will comply before proceeding with the project. I also agree to apply for all city permits as required.
Right. And that's wonderful, but how do we enforce that or police that? After the fact. We can't. So that's what I'm trying to say. If we can somehow prevent that from getting that far, and so that the permitting has to be done prior to the ACC application, and that's only if we can do that. We'll check into that, but that would stop that from happening.
Can't we do a stop work order until the permits are obtained?
Yes, but there's no follow-up right now that the permitting has to come back to the ACC. That part of it's not there in the process.
Used to be.
Okay, enough of that. We'll take this to a workshop. Any further discussion on this? I just wanted to bring it up for maybe we can have something to discuss at our next workshop on this. And we have one more comment.
Karen Anderson again, sorry. I wanted to mention we had looked at doing a propane system like you're talking about, and they said we would need 250-pound tanks, but they told us one would have to be in the ground. And needless to say, when you're talking about that size tanks, that immediately closed us off from saying, no, we didn't want to go any further with it. But you might want to address making sure that you're saying something about none can be put in the ground, because that's what they said to us. We had to have one out and one in the ground. Don't ask me why, but that's what they told us.
the research we've done so far, in-ground tanks have to follow the same guidelines as above-ground tanks, you know, for like distance. So it doesn't matter whether they're above ground or in ground. They follow the same requirements by the fire code, by city code.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Karen. All right, we're going to move on now. We have no supplemental items. Trustee comments. Anything from the trustees? Nothing up here. Okay, resident comments. Any comments from our residents? Being none?
Can I just announce that our last deed restriction review committee is on the 17th at 2 p.m. in the multipurpose room?
Okay, thank you. All right, open for a motion for adjournment. We have a motion, support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.